Hello, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Ask Rob and Rob. This is episode 14 and we've got a great question this week from Andy Norman. Andy's been a long time listener to the podcast, been a very active hubber, and now he runs one of the meetups in Leeds, which has just started, so make sure you check that out. But the reason we're here today is because he's also phoned in with a question.
And if you would like to follow in Andy's footsteps and ask a question of your own, two ways of doing it. One, give us a call. Just call 013 808 0035. That's 013 808 0035. That's our voicemail number. You can just leave us a message with your question. Or you can do what Andy did, which is go over to thepropertyhub.net/podcast, and you'll find a link on there where you can just record your message into your computer and it will wing its way straight over to us. So without further ado, let's hear what Andy has to ask.
Hi guys, it's Andy from Leeds here. I'm considering giving up full-time employment and becoming a full-time property developer investor instead, with the basic plan of doing a couple of buy-to-sell refurbishments a year and one buy-to-let refurb project so that I can increase my own portfolio. What I'd like to know is, what are the first steps you think I should take and what I should have in place before I leave my current job? I'm giving myself about 6 months to get prepared and I've already signed up for the October Property Hub Summit. Anyway, thanks for all the great work and I'm looking forward to hearing what you might have to say. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Andy. Really good question. And as Andy mentioned, he was going to the summit in October and thankfully he turned up and we went into some detail. Now, we can't share Andy's numbers because at the summits we really deep dive and we gave him a very clear strategy on what to do. But we can talk in general terms because there might be other people listening, I'm sure there's many, who are thinking about leaving their jobs and want to go into property full time. So there are definitely a few things to cover off. So first of all, let's go big picture. You need to put a number on what you need to earn to be able to leave your job, because you can't just walk out and then just hope money's going to appear from the trees. It's not. You need to have a very clear number on what you need to earn from property to be able to walk away. Now, it might not be as much. You might be able to cut back for a while. So the number might not be as much as you're earning right now, but you need to put a really specific number on it so you can make that step, that transition.
Then having done that, you can work out how many projects and what type of projects you're going to need to do to bring that about. And from there, you can get into the execution stuff. So you don't need us to tell you that it's not all kind of property ladder or homes under the hammer, it's all smiles after an hour kind of stuff. I'm sure you're more realistic about it than that. And that means that there's a heck of a learning curve to take on. So you might want to consider, for example, joint venturing with someone on the first one who's got experience, and so you can learn from their experience. Or getting along to meetups or hanging out on the Property Hub where you can find people whose brains you can pick who might be further ahead than you are. When it comes to the specific execution stuff, we have got a course on the Property Hub. It's free, about profitable property flipping. We'll be linking to that in the show notes. That's a really great place to start. In about an hour or so, you can get a really good overview of all the main aspects, start to finish, of executing a successful buy-to-sell project. Let me talk, though, about a couple of things that always concern me when people talk about this, and which a point that I always make to them to make sure that they've taken this into consideration. The first one is to make sure that you've got enough independent income to live off, so for the first couple of years, you don't need to be waiting for a project to complete in order to pay your bills. So if you're doing buy-to-sells alongside a job, then that's fine because you've got your salary. Now, obviously, that's really difficult because you've got to balance the two out and it's not easy. So you might think, right, I'm just going to quit and do this. But you really don't want to be in a position where you've got a project which you think is going to take 6 months. You need to sell that project to get the profit to feed your family. And for some reason, it ends up taking longer. You really do not want that stress. So either have an income from somewhere else, maybe from a buy-to-let portfolio, or just have a big pot of money saved up that will see you through whatever period of time you think is sensible. So you can run down that pot of money without having to get into your flipping money. So kind of keep the two completely separated in your mind and in your bank account. The other thing that always concerns me is deal flow. So if you're in a position where you need to be doing a certain number a year to make enough money to replace your wage, then it can be a challenge if you can't find properties to buy at the right price to make the whole thing work for you. There's always a danger that you're going to talk yourself into doing pretty marginal deals, perhaps things you shouldn't be doing, just because you need to find another project and there's nothing else out there. So Andy talked about what can I be doing to prepare before I leave my job. And I would say doing whatever it takes to make sure that that deal flow is there. So you've got the right opportunities and you're not forced into a position of doing things where there's not much profit in it. So there's a lot in there. And I hope that doesn't sound negative because it's really not meant to be at all. But these are really important concerns. Leaving your job to be full-time in property is an aspiration for a lot of people, understandably so. And it's the right thing to do for a lot of people. But I think it's important to make sure you're not doing it before you're ready, just because it seems like such an attractive thing to do. I know that Andy is absolutely not doing that because he came along to the summit and we talked about it in some detail. But I think it's worth having a note of caution around it.
Definitely. So Andy benefited from coming to the summit because now he's got a clear plan. If you'd like to join us, like Andy did, really simple. Get information by texting summit, leaving a space, and then your email. So type in summit, leave a space, type your email, and then text that to 88802, 88802, and we'll send you some info. Or you can go to thepropertyhub.net/summit, and you can have a look at the info there as well, whatever's easiest for you. But if you're on your phone now, send a text. It's super simple.
Okay, so that's another Tuesday, another Ask Rob and Rob, another question answered. We hope you found that useful. We hope you'll submit your own question if you've got anything burning away that you'd like to get an answer to. And we hope that you'll be tuning in on Thursday when we're going to be back with the Property Podcast. Until then, we'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.